while since the last time I shared something. I'm sitting here at approximately, I would say I'm anywhere between 5,500 feet and 6,000 feet. I'm not really sure which. I haven't really bothered to look. I'm doing all kinds of thinking out here because Nevada calms my spirit, even in the smoke. And on that note, I wanted to talk about risk. So, risk is an interesting thing amongst human beings because, I'm just trying to sound smart. Risk is an interesting thing. It seems to me like we're living in an era where maybe for not the first time ever in history, but in recent history, we're living in a time where people largely aren't risk takers, or risk is seen as a very relative thing. For instance, a huge risk to somebody who might be a little more, have an inclination for safety. A risk might be asking someone out when they've been really nervous to ask that person out for months or years. Years if you're creepy, but that's in the grand scheme of things, I would argue that's a small risk. Now, this isn't me saying like, oh, I'm taking a huge risk, but I'm out in some pretty thick wildfire smoke. There are mountain lions that live up here. There are wild horses that would gladly kick my teeth in. There are rattlesnakes. And then there's just the drastic increase in elevation. I mean, there's the sunlight, there's, the air's thinner. Lots of things could go wrong. I'm not that far from civilization. You can hear the airplanes and the buzz of vehicles beneath me, but I don't know. And this, while I'm thinking, man, I'm kind of taking a risk by being up here. I'm alone. I've got my phone and stuff, but it caused me to think a little bit more about the virus. I've got this bandana that I can put over my face to, that I've been using to kind of shield some of the smoke. People will probably argue that it's not helping. Some might argue that it is, but I am taking a risk by being out here. I would say maybe it's a little bigger than the risk it takes to ask somebody out. I don't know. Maybe it's less than that. Again, it seems to be very relative to people. But one thing that I would like to say about this virus that's going on, has been going on, whatever your views of it are, that it's the most deadly virus to mankind, or it's just the flu, whatever your view is of it, even if it's some, existential threat to humanity, are people not worth the risk? Are relationships not worth the risk anymore? Like, are we so afraid of a virus, or are we so afraid of taking a risk, maybe to quit a job that requires you to get a vaccine, or a job that that maybe you just hate, or there's somebody there that's borderline abusive, or whatever your situation is. Are we just not risk takers anymore? Like, have we lost that part of our humanity where we won't smile at people anymore because it's seen as a risk that's too huge? What if I'm not wearing my mask correctly, or what if I'm standing too close to this person? Or, those aren't really things that I think about unless I'm in a very heavily populated area, and I kind of don't really get out much these days, but that's not because I'm afraid. I guess in conclusion, you've listened to me talk long enough. If you've listened to me this long, thank you. You're probably a fact checker or somebody who's going to flag this video or something. I don't know. I'm not a health expert. I'm not a life expert. I'm not a risk expert. But I do know that the times in my life when You know, when I go out the back door, go out into the backyard, wherever I am, and go a little bit further than the average person, you know, it's so beautiful out here. Even with the smoke, it's so refreshing and exhilarating to just do something different, to just change it up. Yeah, maybe I twist my ankle on the way down, or maybe I get elevation sickness afterwards. Maybe I get mauled by a mountain lion. Who cares? My point is, living life to its fullest is about taking risks. You know, risking surrendering your life to the idea of a divine being, or surrendering your fears to, you know, take a leap of faith, whether it's with a friend or you know, in a relationship or anything. Anyways, I have a little bit more that I want to do. There's a checkpoint I'd like to reach. Hopefully I have the stamina to make it. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. Feel free to ignore. Carry on. Bye.